Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Eric Conrad. I am a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church. We'd like to welcome any visitors or newcomers to the church, and there's a special note for you entitled Welcome Guests and Newcomers. It's on the back of the order of service. We also want to welcome those of you who are attending online. Lyrics of hymns and all elements of the service may be found on the screen, and a complete order of service, including this week's announcements, is available via the link in the Sunday morning email and also on the church website. Our in-person Sunday social is held immediately following the service. Please turn off or silence any cell phones during the service in order to maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrive at this beloved place, you are welcome here. We have a special Within These Walls announcement from Joan O'Brien and Kathleen Farinola.
Good morning, church family. We interrupt your regularly scheduled service to bring you the Action Auction News Network, your up-to-the-minute source on the church online auction.
That's right. And the good news is our online auction is already well underway. Bidding has been brisk, exciting, and often quite competitive.
Yeah, sure. But here's the headline you need to remember. Bidding closes at 9 o'clock in the morning this coming Saturday, October 25th. That's right, folks. This story has a deadline.
And with a catalog crammed full of incredible items, you won't want to miss out. We're talking about themed meals, special events, handmade treasures, delicious food, unique art, live entertainment, books, music events, instruments, garden items, professional services, and even vacation travel, and much, much more.
Well, Joan and fellow members, here's the breaking news. Some of these fabulous treasures are on display today at the triple auction table. Oh God, don't tell them we took 3 tables. Anyway, during our social gathering, yes, right out there in Fellowship Hall, you can feast your eyes on many of the auction items: the guitar, quilts, woven baskets, wall art, pottery, backpack, candle holders, and more, before you dive back into those bidding wars.
So fire up your Wi-Fi, limber up your typing fingers, and get ready to place those winning bids. And remember, this auction isn't just about treasures. It's a great opportunity to connect with other members of the church family and to financially support the good works of the church.
That's right, and let's repeat that critical headline one more time. Bidding ends at 9 o'clock this Saturday morning, October 25th.
And if you need help getting online to bid, don't worry. Just stop by the auction table today and one of us will be glad to assist you. So don't wait. Bid now, bid often, and help make this church's online auction a record success.
This has been Auction Action News, signing off, reminding you to keep calm and keep bidding. Thank you.
Please rise in body or in spirit for our opening hymn, number 1028, entitled The Fire of Commitment. You'll find it in the teal hymnal. Science fiction writer Brian Aldiss had this to say about creativity. Whatever creativity is, it is part of a solution to a problem. Another science fiction writer, Ray Bradbury, seemed a bit more certain when he said, "That's the great secret of creativity. You treat ideas like cats, you make them follow you." Now, I don't know whether Ray Bradbury knew anything about cats, but in the next hour, let our imaginations spark our creativity in order to address the problems we face in the weeks and months ahead, even as our cats direct their attention elsewhere. Come, let us worship together. You'll find the words for the chalice lighting in your order of service. Please join me in saying them. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer, if you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. We now have a musical presentation.
I want to let you know the words to both of the poems that these pieces are set to are printed in your order of service, and I just encourage you to read them just because they're wonderful poems. This first one is by Langston Hughes, and it's called To Sit and Dream. So please take advantage of the poetry in your order of service.
Each week, we hold a time in our service for sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this community. It's during this time, if you've come with either a significant personal joy or sorrow, you're invited to come forward, place a stone in the water bowl, speak your name, and briefly share your joy or your sorrow. This morning, I'm going to place the first stone, and then others may follow. The first stone is placed for a member of our church, Chet Pletsky. Chet passed away on Friday, and we hold his family, his communities here at the church and the men's group, his community at Carolina Meadows in our hearts, and we'll be in touch soon with information about memorial services and how to reach out to family. So let us take a moment to hold Chet Pletsky with love in our hearts. Did I steal yours?
I'm placing two stones. One was meant to be also for Chet, who's my neighbor and good friend. Not only my neighbor, but in Carolina Meadows, we have what we call roof mates, people who share the same roof. He was my immediate next door neighbor, and he was a kind and gentle man, and very generous. And Tom has already spoken of that. So it is a sadness and a joy, my neighbor on the other side, Teresa, she's a former nun, and she's made it her mission at Carolina Meadows to be with sick and dying people, and I know has eased many people as they have passed. And she happened to, as is her custom, go over to check on Chet and learn from his son that he had just found him deceased, and Chet was still there. So Teresa told me she knelt next to him and she prayed for him and she talked with him. And so my joy is that I have a neighbor such as that.
I'm Deborah Klinger. I think you know him. For anybody new, this is Glenn Meyerbach, my husband and our music director. I'm placing two stones, one of sorrow and one of joy. The sorrow is that our dear cat, Moonshine, we've had him and his brother Julius for 10 years since they were 6-month-old kittens, just disappeared about a month ago without a trace. Coyotes moved into our neighborhood a few years ago, and we suspect that's what happened, but we are bereft. The joy is that today is Glenn's 70th birthday.
I'm Eric Conrad. My wife Ann is at home with some severe foot pain. We don't know quite what's going on. But she's been struggling for about a week, so, well, I'm not sure.
I'm Jean McKinney, and I placed the stone for my uncle, my mother's youngest brother, who passed away in September. I got to go to his memorial service this month. And he was a very quiet man. He was a photographer, an amazing woodworker. He grew roses and would share them with his neighbors. He had a very strong faith, and he will be missed.
I'm Susan Blanchard. The first stone is a joy. Last Saturday, the 11th, Don and I celebrated our 45th wedding anniversary. The second stone was a sorrow that I wasn't able to participate in the protest yesterday because I had a commitment. The third one was a joy that all three of our children did, including one at 51 who went to her first protest. And our two granddaughters who live in Caleigh, who are 12 and 14, were also at the protest, not their first. And they have requested inflatables, not for Halloween, but for their next protest.
Hi, my name is Louise Chung. I'm placing a stone of sorrow. We lost my Aunt Linda this week. She was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer 3 weeks ago, and my heart goes out to my Uncle Charlie and my cousins Henry and Jamie.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Dean. I have a joy that last year my dad had a heart surgery and his heart was still too weak. So this fall they put in a defibrillator. They had put in a pacemaker, now a defibrillator. There was a small issue. One of the wires came out. So he had to have a second surgery, but now he's well into recovery and we're hoping that this is what his heart needs. And this coming weekend I get to go home and help him hold his annual Halloween party. He's the Halloween king. My other joy was the protest yesterday and the mobilization, and I heard a statistic that it only takes 3.5% of the population to shift to affect powerful change, and I'm really holding on to that.
My name is Maureen O'Rourke. Today is the anniversary of Shannon's death. All of you have spoken of Shannon's quietness, listening, and some of you have spoken of her bravery. This church was Shannon's community, as is mine. The little old lady from Pasadena, her memorial service, her saying ditto at our wedding. Let us remember Shannon with joy and love. Thank you.
A final stone is placed for all of the joys and the sorrows that we hold in our hearts that were not spoken this morning.
I invite you to join me now in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, source of all being, be with us here in the depths of our sorrows and in the celebration of our joys. May we be strengthened by sharing with one another in this community of witness, this sanctuary of peace. through our lives as individuals and as a collective, may we embrace the ups and downs that come with the passage of time. May we remember that the journey is never over, that each moment is blessed and fleeting. May we know ourselves held by the universe as we experience joy that transforms into sorrow and sorrow back into joy. In rhythm with the cycles of the earth, the turning of the seasons. May we feel the hope that comes with never-ending opportunities to begin again, to take part in the ever-evolving shape of our universe. Amen, and blessed be. Please remain seated and join in our sung meditation, hymn number 396 in the gray hymnal, I Know This Rose Will Open. Our reading this morning is the poem Fruit Guy by Jon Wojtowicz. Each morning, my son and I pass an orchard on the way to his preschool. And this morning, he asks, "What type of forest is that?" And I tell him, it's an orchard, a fruit farm. And he declares, farms have animals. I tell him some farms have fruit. But again, he insists this cannot be true. And because I know better, I ask, who grows the fruit, if not the farmer? And my son responds, the fruit guy grows the fruit. And believing I have him cornered, I declare, a fruit guy is a type of farmer. But my son retorts, the fruit guy is a watermelon named Mr. Banana. And I am silent, imagining a Humpty Dumpty type watermelon with an unfortunate surname waking up next to his watermelon wife, donning overalls and a straw hat before heading out into his fields with basket and stepladder. And because this is a reality worth escaping into, I let Mr. Banana live.
Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. We will now receive the morning offering.
Once again, the lyrics of this piece are in your order of service. And at the beginning, the composer specified that when they're singing dew, that's the raindrops that's falling in the song.
At some point before I was born, my parents had the old asphalt driveway torn up, and for much of my early childhood, there was chunks of asphalt piled up behind our shed. For my brother and me and our friends, that pile of construction debris was a time machine and a teleporter, taking us back to dinosaur times or out into space. It was the base of a fantastical castle and a ship lost at sea. There was something about this mountain of asphalt, which I'm sure was much smaller than it is in my memories. Something about it that sparked our imaginations. As children, we are so much more quickly and easily able to access our imagination. We are more aware that things do not have to be as they appear, that we do not have to be as we appear. It's amazing how rapidly the realities and responsibilities of life begin to stifle our rich, imaginative minds. Already at 17, I had lost some of that spirit. I used to babysit these two siblings who were obsessed with the movie Frozen. Not only did we watch it ad nauseum, but we would play Frozen, which, in my developing logical brain, meant that the older, blonder sibling would pretend to be Elsa, and the younger sister with her darker hair would pretend to be Anna. The older sibling did declare, "I'm Elsa," but then pointed to me and said, "You're Anna." Surprised, I looked to the younger sister and said, "So who does that make you?" And the younger sister declared confidently, "I'm Olaf." Of course she was Olaf, the magical talking snowman. How silly of me to think that the way I perceived these two little kids should have anything to do with their imaginative roles. Because imagination is a domain in which children are the experts, it can be easy to write off as inherently childish, as something best grown out of or relegated to specific fields like the visual and performing arts. Kids with particularly active imaginations are often encouraged, and with good reason, to write stories, practice art, to study and hone their chosen mediums. Then they grow up and find themselves in a world where their art, the fruits of their imaginations, must be commodified if they are to devote most of their time and energy to that art. And so it seems that even in the most explicitly imaginative realms of adult life, imagination is supported only insofar as it is marketable. Artists and other imaginative creators are frequently stifled by the need to earn a living with their art. And for those who won't, who refuse to let their creations, their imaginings, be influenced by the market, they must spend significant time and energy on whatever work will give them the income needed to feed themselves, to have a roof under which to create. And as we know, it is becoming increasingly difficult to afford that food and that roof. Many children, when they begin to learn about these economic realities, about how money and trade work, they wonder aloud, if the country's in debt, why don't we just print more money? And I know printing more money wouldn't solve our economic problems. There is an answer about inflation and how the economy functions that many people understand better than I. But I think there is a serious and insightful question behind the money printing question. Why do we continue to use this system under which so many are suffering? There was a time in human evolution before the systems of capitalism. Why does it now appear to be the eternal law of the land? There's a famous quote attributed to multiple philosophers, including Frederick Jameson and Slavoj Žižek, which goes, "It is easier to imagine the end of the world than to imagine the end of capitalism." We have developed a cultural imagination around the end of the world. Books and movies present images of apocalypse, atomic war or natural disaster that ends or fundamentally ruptures life as we know it. We don't have the same cultural imagination around how capitalism might end, how we might move into another way of organizing our lives and society. Philosopher Mark Fisher expands on this idea in his book, Capitalist Realism. He writes about the isolation and despair so many feel living in a system we know is broken. He writes about how all-encompassing and seemingly natural the systems of capitalism have become, how inescapable it feels when even anti-capitalist messages are disseminated within capitalist structures. He uses the example of the movie Wall-E, which depicts a bleak future where the earth is uninhabitable and humanity seems to do nothing but passively consume, consume, consume. The driving force behind this condemnable future, the villain, is a fictional mega-corporation. And yet the movie itself was produced by Disney, perhaps the signature mega-corporation of our time. It is hard to imagine the end of capitalism. It is hard to imagine other ways of being as a society when this one feels so all-encompassing. And though our situation feels grim, and Fisher's book is not exactly an uplifting read, he ends it with what I think is one of the most inspirational messages I've heard in a long time. The last sentence of his book is, "From a situation in which nothing can happen, suddenly anything is possible again." We see this best, I think, in the imaginations of children. Children for whom the norms and expectations of this society have not yet been made concrete. Children have so little power in our society. One could argue that without much adult assistance, children can't really make anything happen. Perhaps this is part of why they have such strong imaginations. Why, for them, anything is possible. Why they teach us over and over again that things do not have to be as they appear. It's not just kids who understand this. Author Ursula K. Le Guin, known especially for her science fiction and fantasy writing, once said, "We live in capitalism. its power seems inescapable. So did the divine right of kings. If we zoom way out, it becomes clear that nothing, no state of being, is ever permanent. If we believe geologists, which I do, even the land we stand on is not permanent. The dirt and rocks that make up the continents we've come to know once existed as one supercontinent. And as plates shift and things erode, they will continue to transform. If even the ground beneath our feet is susceptible to change, there is no reason to act like change will not come for all things. Imagination allows us to live in partnership with change rather than fight futilely against it. We have the power to help make sure that that change is for the better. And the only way we can create a better future is by first imagining that it is possible, that we are never stuck in the way things appear to be. One of the things I love so much about the poem that was our reading this morning is that the speaker is so moved by his son's imagination, so struck by this vision of a watermelon farmer named Mr. Banana, that he is able to set aside, at least for a moment, the need to hold tightly to the world as it appears to be. The father who knows it is his responsibility to teach his son about the world, who knows better by his own admission. He understands that there is something worthwhile in the fantasy. Because this is a reality worth escaping into, he writes, I let Mr. Banana live. We must encourage robust imagination, not just in children, but in us all. We must encourage fantasy and fantastical world building because together we can discover worlds not just worth escaping into, but worth building. At some point, imagination crosses over into conviction, and the things that have only existed in our minds become reality. This congregation only exists because a group of people imagined it was possible to do church differently, that they didn't have to remain beholden to the way things had been. They imagined this beloved community into being. And we continue to imagine better ways of being, and not just within these walls. Many of you joined yesterday with millions of people across the country to proclaim that we will not give in to those who imagine a world in which the mighty few rule over the rest of us. A world of closed-off borders and contempt for difference. Something that really stands out to me about this most recent string of protests, from the ICE protests in Portland to No King's Day around the country, is how many people are dressing up in costumes. There is a long history of tactical frivolity, of meeting militarization with whimsy. It shows both that we are not the threat that some make us out to be, and that there is a power in fantasy. Something worthwhile in dressing and acting in unexpected ways. It helps remind us that things do not have to be as they appear. We do not have to remain as we appear. may we remember that imagination is not childish, should not be confined or commodified. May we encourage imagination in ourselves and in others, because it is a lifeline, a vital tool in creating the world that is to come. Blessed be, and may it be so. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, Another World is Possible, the words to which can be found printed inside your order of worship.
So we're all going to use our imagination here because we're busy rehearsing pieces and we have a chance to rehearse this. But I think you should be able to pick it up pretty quickly. This is a song that could have easily been sung at one of the rallies yesterday, and it starts like I'm sure a lot of you did yesterday with like a chant. So, we are unstoppable. Another world is possible. 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 We are unstoppable. No, it doesn't have to be like this. 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 Keep doing that, and we'll do it has to be like this. Today, another world is possible.
The words for extinguishing the chalice are found in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Let's take a moment to thank those who contributed. Please join us in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. As you are comfortable, please either hold hands with the person next to you or cross your arms over your heart.